Hello, are you here to debate?
Yes.
All right, what's your name and how old are you?
My name is Duke, and I'm 8 years old. Just kidding. I'm about 30. So, uh, you said, is it point? I can't. I gotta pull up your video again. 0.7.
What about it?
You want to abolish, or you're for abolishing prisons and police?
I'm for the abolition of police and prisons. I'm an abolitionist.
Okay. I'm against that. I think that's not a good idea. Maybe like in the far future, when we have a more stable society, but
The abolition
we
of
don't
police
need.
and prisons doesn't say that we should abolish police and prisons from the top down. It's a bottom up approach. So we would first fix the
What
issues that with
What do you
systemic
mean?
crime and systemic poverty, and then we'll slowly not see a need for police anymore.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's a good idea. Let's just say you do it right now, just straight up, right?
Well, we wouldn't do it right now.
That's
That
just
would that would go against the movement of abolition. So, like, sure, if you want to do it
your
right now,
point
that's
stands in
not.
by itself, though.
No, the
You
point
made you made it.
when
Okay.
I say abolish police and prison, I we have a method, right? It's not just let's do it right now, right? But I can't fit on the board abolishing police and prisons from a bottom up perspective after we first fix the systemic
Okay.
issues that cause crime, right? So the base is there, and then I'll expand
So,
on the base, which I did.
okay, which you just did. Yeah. So, what do you? How are you gonna have? Is it just communities enforcing and accountability? How is like how are you gonna have a system where there's justice being served, or there's fairness,
So
or there's
when
protection?
it comes to abolition, abolition is not saying that we can't have some sort of public safety system in effect.
It's guard
What
dogs.
it's saying is the systems of police and prison that are run via a carceral and retributive state of justice need to be abolished in replacement of a system that focuses on transformative and restorative justice, so that we can eliminate the causes of crime. So we take a preventative measure to crime instead of a reactionary measure, and then this would see less of a need for police and prisons as we know them today.
A reactionary? Well, isn't that justice? Isn't that like a law enforcement? So you want to replace.
No, the
That's what you're
reactionary
saying.
method to crime means we don't try to prevent crime from happening. We just attack crime after the fact. We want to try to prevent the crime from ever occurring, which would be a which typically, because most crime is born from poverty, would be addressing systemic poverty issues.
Okay. So that's just so it's your systemic approach, and then you're tackling each little individual facet that adds up to corruption of law enforcement or something like that. So what's wrong with it right now? You're saying that it's inherently wrong.
What's wrong with it right now? Did you not listen to anything I said?
I know, I understand what you're
Currently,
saying, but I want to
currently,
know. Yeah.
currently, we have a system that focuses on carceral and retributive justice. So it focuses on mass imprisonment, and it focuses on revenge for crime. So this would be like putting people into prison. Like we're focused more on like the revenge aspect
The
instead of
punishment. Yeah,
focusing on
that's punishment.
punishment. The punishment doesn't do anything. Punishment doesn't do anything, right? Instead, we need to be focused on rehabilitation for when people are committing crimes, and we need to focus on transformative justice, which is looking at the systems that are currently set up which cause crime and addressing those systems so that the crime decreases naturally.
Okay, naturally. So, but what about deterrence and
They
risks
don't work.
involved in this crime? So what if there's the say, oh, I can get away with it. I'm just gonna do it. What
Yes,
about
that's
that?
that's why
Because there will
deterrents
be
don't
those
work.
people.
right? The claim here would be that prisons are the deterrent. So prisons existing will stop people from committing crime. But most people that
For
commit crime
punishment,
either
yeah.
well, yeah, but most people that commit crime either think A, they're going to get away with it, so the punishment doesn't matter because they don't think they're going to get caught, or B, their situation is so bad that they're willing to risk the punishment in order to engage in the crime. Again, if we focus on the systemic issues that cause the crime to happen, people won't be committing the crimes because they'll have no reason to. Most crimes are born from poverty. Like poverty plus proximity equals
Okay.
crime is like just a standard equation in criminal justice, right? So by addressing these things, we're going to see a decrease in the crime rate. And we've seen this replicated in most societies that have addressed their systemic poverty issues.
Can you give me a couple examples
Norway,
of the
Sweden,
successful?
pretty much any
Is it,
Scandinavian country.
I think they focus on, they do have a punishment and whatnot, but it's
That's what
rehabilitating
that's what
or
that's what restorative justice is. When I say
restorative.
that we want to
Okay,
focus on restorative justice, that is what it is. It's rehabilitation. It's
rehabilitation.
making
What
sure that
about
when people
people?
leave jail, they don't go back to jail.
Okay, what about people that are? 'Cause from what I've known, what I've learned is that like you can have a sociopath or a psychopath, and that's the brain structure.
Yes,
They
this is
can't
the
really
vast
do much
minority of
about that.
people.
But
This is
there's a factor of self
yeah,
control. There's a factor
this
of
is going to be like
selflessness that
under this is
comes
going to be
in.
like under 5% of the prison population, right? I'm
But
not going to not make the changes because like under 5% of people might be sociopaths. Instead, what we should do is focus
well,
on preventing
sociopaths aren't
them.
inherently bad. I'm not saying that
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is we should
either.
focus on preventative measures to keep them from committing crimes. So that would be investing in our mental
Preventative
health
measures
care,
being like
invest.
wealth. Okay, wealth distribution. That's fair. Not systemic this, systemic that. So what are some other factors besides poverty that uh, high crime?
Poverty is like number one factor
That's
of
what
crime.
you're focusing on.
Well,
Okay,
poverty is
that's
the
your
number one
main
factor of crime.
kicker.
It's poverty.
It's okay. It's
Almost
not.
every crime, even violent crimes, can be linked back to poverty.
What about uh, what about crimes of passion
Yes,
and
most crimes of
jealousy?
passion can also be linked back to poverty. We can see that, for instance, the domestic violence rates in the United States coincide almost directly with unemployment rates. So as unemployment rises, so do domestic violence cases because monetary stress is a link to violence. So when people are
Okay.
stressed about the money that they're making, it leads to them being a bit more violent than if they were not. When people's needs are met,
Okay. Yes,
we see that violence
I
decreases.
understand what you're saying. Yes, that point is clear. What about people that are making millions of dollars that are fucking loaded and that still commit crime? We're talking millionaires, billionaires that do.
Yes, the crimes typically committed by these groups of people would be or white collar crimes. So it would be people that are engaging in like wage theft and things like that, which we would stop them having the ability to do when we address systemic poverty. We would make it so that they
What
don't have the
about
ability to
Epstein kind
engage
of
in these
people?
things. What about what?
Epsteinish kind of activity. What about that kind of behavior? How would you? Because that has nothing to do with poverty, right? Maybe those people, those kids that are getting lots of money, that I can understand that. But what if they're just straight up weirdos that have no self control? And how, like, that has nothing to do with money, I can imagine.
Yeah, again, we would focus on preventative measures, which would be like predominantly mental health care.
Mental health
Those would
care.
be the preventative measures to stop these types of crimes.
Okay, so mental health care, and then you're talking about um, what in society, how, is it, you're talking about wealth distribution, the fairness and wages, like the whole preventative measures, so people don't feel like they need to steal. What does that look like? What are those
It
measures?
looks like providing people their basic needs. There's a lot of different things to do. This is a broad question with 100 answers. We can do UBI. and give people a universal basic income. We can focus on fixing the medical debt, since millions of people are in medical debt right now. We could focus on free healthcare so that that medical debt goes away. We can make it so that education is better, so that people actually have the ability to receive higher educations and are able to get higher paying jobs. There's a million things we can do. We can make it so that we can make housing more affordable. We can make food more affordable. We can make water free. There's just so many things we can do that we have the
Yeah,
ability to do to address systemic poverty that we don't, because there's a monetary incentive
we're
to keeping
struggling
these
with.
industries for profit.
I think the steps to be taken, like they have to be sequenced properly, because I don't see it working in the case of like Oakland or something, how they had they had less budgets for the police force, and now businesses are moving out and people don't feel safe. So I feel like there's certain, I understand what you're saying, but we would have to do that very carefully, if you know what I mean. We'd have to take certain steps, one thing at a
Oakland has
time.
increased its police budget year over year. So I don't know what this idea of Oakland not having,
Oh, okay.
literally every year
Oh,
they've increased their police budget.
well, wasn't there something that just got passed that said that lower it in terms of like
No, they raised their
uh
budget to in 2021 to 2022 their budget was 330 million, then it raised to 353 million. This year it was raised to 364 million. So no, they keep raising it year over year.
so what how come the how
What's
come
up,
people are
Raiders?
complaining about it then? How come people are not feeling safe in Oakland right now?
I don't know, but it has nothing to do with the police
Oh,
budget. It probably
yeah,
would have to do with like other systemic poverty issues that Oakland as a community faces that then lead into other issues, right? But it's not anything to do with the
yeah,
police budget. They literally have risen it. They've rose it literally every year.
which makes sense. So, and so there's a correlation. You're making it very clear that there's a correlation between poverty and crime, right?
Yes,
And if we don't
this
have
is yes.
poverty, we'll have less crime. And you're sure of that?
The lower poverty rates, the less crime that gets committed. Yes, this is pretty standard
Okay.
criminal
Okay.
justice stuff. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, good points. Expand, explore. All right. Adios, man. Good one.
Okay.